People are afraid of not getting validated, or they're afraid of judgment that they perceive from other people that exist or don't exist in their lives. And so for whatever reason, they have this second voice that criticizes everything they do that in reality isn't even there, but is constantly present. It's like the antithesis of whatever the God figure is, but just the negative voice. And so I think that's the thing that stops most people from doing the stuff they know they need to do. Whether it's want to get in shape, or I want to have a better marriage, or I want to make more money, most people on some level, at a basic level, they know what to do. And my proof point of like even making money, right? Most of us have had a bill that came up that was unexpected, a tax bill, a car breaks down, a health thing, whatever it is, and we find a way. I think that most people know if they want to work out, to get in shape or to lose weight, whatever, they know they need to eat fewer donuts and move more in general, but they don't, right? Because they're afraid of getting started, or they don't have the discipline to keep going, which is they can't make the short-term sacrifice for the long-term achievement. Big picture, it's like there's usually some fear that's preventing from doing it, and then how it looks from a behavioral standpoint is they do not make the short-term sacrifice of discomfort for the long-term achievement, independent of whatever path they're talking about. They like to separate the kids into the two buckets, the kid who waits for 2 marshmallows and the kid who just says, I want the marshmallow now. But I feel like they should have a third bucket, which says, how long do they ask the kid to wait for the marshmallow? A lot of times we have false dichotomies, or we have binaries where we're like good or bad, disciplined or undisciplined, I'm honest or dishonest, when I think more reality is to what degree am I honest? To what extent am I disciplined? To what degree am I loyal? It's not do I have them or not, it's how much do you have? Your ability to delay gratification, it's not just like, oh, I can wait a week or I can wait a month. If you can wait a year, you can make a ton of money. Like if you can do something for 12 months, you can not need for financial goodness pretty much for the rest of your life. I'm not saying you're gonna be hella rich, but you're not gonna need for anything if you can wait 12 months. If you can wait a decade, you're going to be above the 1%. If you can wait 10 years for an outcome, be able to do the doing without seeing the result for 10 years, you will be able to be above most achievement of most people. And if you can wait a lifetime, and you don't even need to see the result of your doing this, even while you are alive, but know that it may get done after you pass, I believe that you can change the world. And I mean that. And so I think that if people can just extend the time horizon that they're measuring themselves on, they can just do so much more. I listen to the people who I want to emulate. I can almost tell by the measurement of money that they talk about and the measurement of time that they discuss how successful they are or how successful I think they're going to be. Like if I talk to a 25-year-old and he's talking about what he wants to do in 2 decades and his whole plan of what he's gonna do, then I'm like, this kid's got it. He gets it. He gets it. And most people just don't think they can't wait 90 days. Most people can't even wait a month, right? They start a diet and 14 days later they don't have a 6-pack and they can't wait. But like if you do a year, you can look whatever way you want. And if you wait a year for the ability to learn how to sell, you wait a year for the ability to learn how to market, wait a year just providing value to a group of people for free and then delaying your ask, you can do whatever you want. A lot of people feel like there's something wrong with experiencing human emotions. They are stressed and then think there's something wrong with them. It's my belief, it is contrarian, I accept that. The beliefs we have about our emotions that are the things that drive us mad. And so somebody's sad and then they tell themselves they're bad because they're sad, or they're wrong to be sad, or they're a piece of shit because they're sad, rather than saying, isn't this a beautiful thought about the human existence? If I could not be sad, then I would not experience joy. So like, if I say that I don't want to be sad anymore, then I would also have to give up joy. Am I willing to do that? No. Well, then this is just a part. Like I can't say that I want sunny days if there are no rainy days. We don't say weather is good or bad, it just is. To the same degree, the human experience is also that way too, at least how I define it. And so I think having that as my backbone frame in terms of my worldview, although contrarian, has helped me a lot in dealing with the things that often derail entrepreneurs on their path to getting what they want. And so for me, that's been very helpful. I think most people have a dramatic underestimation of how much volume it takes to be successful, independent of the thing, right? They're like, okay, I should go on 5 dates and then find the girl I'm gonna marry. It's like, what if it was 500 to find the right girl you're gonna marry? We ended up doing 400 episodes before we made it to the top 10 on the podcast. And it's just this volume game that you get the skill from the volume, the feedback from the volume. There's all these like little things from the exercise world. Like when you squat, the first time you squat, you're orienting yourself to your environment. You're barely actually squatting. You're just looking like you have a bar on your back. But you learn so much between that first rep and your 10,000th rep of squats. And so I think for most people, it's like it can just decrease the action threshold for people to begin and be okay with the fact that they're going to suck, and it is okay to suck. You should expect to suck. And it would be unreasonable for you to be good if you haven't done it before. And so it's like, are you asking the universe to be unreasonable for you by expecting to be good on your first try? And I think that's where a lot of people, it's the expectation that destroys their ability to be successful, because they expect to win on the first shot, and no one does. Right now, you're probably not doing something because you're like, I'm too busy. I'll start when it's convenient. If you say that as the excuse for not doing something, then there's an assumption underlying that says that if I get busy again in the future, I will stop. And so, do you want the success that you want to be long-term? Yes. Then do you believe that you'll never be busy again for the rest of your life? No. So then you might as well start when you're busy so that you have the most support. Because if you learn how to do it when you're busy, when it gets quiet, you'll succeed even more. And when it gets busy again, you know how to do it because that's how you started. Obstacle overcome. Doing the same thing consistently. So usually once people do it in the beginning, they're sporadic, they're not consistent with it. Just the act of doing the same thing every day usually gets people to 100,000 a month, which sounds crazy to probably people listening, but most people who think that's crazy also haven't done it consistently for an extended period of time. And so I use something that I call the Rule of 100, which is 100 primary actions, whether that's 100 minutes of content creation per day, 100 reach outs per day, $100 of ad spend per day. You have to pick one of them, but 100 per day, and you do that for 100 days, and I promise you, you'll have 6 figures if you do that. Meaning is self-ascribed, so that there is no inherent meaning in the things that we do, or the actions we take, or the outcomes that happen, but only that which we ascribe to it. Because of that, I feel like it's allowed me to achieve the things on the other side. It's allowed me to reframe a lot of the discomfort into, what if this just is how it always has been? Or what if this is actually amazing? And what if this is exactly what it should look like? It's the discrepancy between our expectations and reality that shape the emotions that we have in response to any given situation, bad, good, etc. I think the difference between like rich people and poor people, successful people, non-successful people, is the degree to which they attribute or give power to their circumstance, right? And so the difference between a self-made billionaire who started with nothing and someone who else started with nothing is not the resources, obviously, because they both started at zero. So what else is it? It's their resourcefulness, not the resources. And so if we give power to circumstance, then we cast power outside of ourselves. If we give power to other people, we cast power outside of ourselves. It's, it's controlling the controllable. You can take pride in the fact that you admit that there's a deficit, right? But the only thing you can't take pride in is casting and being a victim. Right? Like no one moves forward. Even if you're right, it doesn't serve you, right? If you're born with one less leg than you should, you're right. You have a disadvantage at being a sprinter, but it doesn't serve you in any way to admit it. It's owning the fact that like you are the only person who can actually change anything about your life, because you may blame your circumstances, but no one else will care.